It's the Bush League Mud Show.
It's the Bush League Mud Show. Let's go.
Are you ready?
Make some noise!
Yo, what is going on? Another episode of the Bush League Mud Show. Episode 28, Slade PJ, coming at you on a Friday. We're recording this right now, Friday, November 19th. Sorry, we haven't been able to pump out some of those earlier during the week episodes with your Raw and your Dynamite. We're going to try to combine. We're going to throw all of this all on episode 28.
Well, we just had a feeling something was going to happen, right? Because it always seems to.
Yeah, lately, you figured, okay, this isn't going to happen again right before the holidays, is it? No. Leave it up to WWE. We got more releases that has now put the number up above 80.
Unbelievable.
I can't even call it. It's not normal.
No.
But it is norm now. It is the norm with this company.
Well,
record profits. PJ.
Record profits. They're not going to be signing anyone else. So, I mean, how many more are we going to get rid of? Are we only going to have like 10 people per show as soon as this is all done with? I mean,
yes, this was announced around Thursday. WWE head of talent relations John Laurinaitis reportedly sent out an email that evening stating that Hit Row. Yes, that Hit Row.
Yes.
The Hit Row that was just called up, drafted to SmackDown.
Yep.
That after 2 weeks released BFAB.
Correct.
Well, the remaining members are also extinct from the WWE main roster. They were announced to have been served their release. So Isaiah Swerve Scott and Top Dolla and Shanti the Adonis, they are gone. John Morrison is part of those releases. Tegan Knox, Drake Maverick, who was...
Yeah.
He had his run. Remember, he was a part of this first initial slew of releases in 2020.
Yep.
And then he was able to rework and get a contract to come back. He lasts an extra 18 months, and he's in good spirits about it. He cut a video during the week after he was recently announced, given his release papers. Also, Shane Thorne and Jackson Riker, who at one point... during the course of this year was being rumored, according to rumors and innuendos, of maybe getting a babyface world title contention push.
Yeah.
By the company.
I mean, that was the thing.
And we had him in a strap match. Elias hasn't been the same since.
I'm surprised Elias hasn't been released.
Right, because we've been teasing a gimmick change, right?
Yeah, but I haven't...
He killed off Elias and...
The vignettes haven't run on Raw in like 3 months.
Right.
So, I mean, I don't know where the hell he is, but yeah, the Riker thing, too, that was strange because we heard, the title push, they needed more baby faces, and it looked like he was, Vince was really going to ram this guy down their throats, and all of a sudden, no, he's out.
I couldn't help to think, those Elias promos those vignettes that they had cut, it was like 1 or 2 weeks worth.
Yeah.
It reminded me a lot of Nickelodeon's Are You Afraid of the Dark? Wasn't it him sitting around the fire? It was kind of like the ashes at the end where you throw it on the fire. That's kind of like how it was the guitar. Anyways, I'm digressing. These cuts were said to have been described by Laurinaitis as budgetary. Yes.
They can't be anymore. That's the problem. Like you said, record profits. Usually when you do this, you got to make a little wiggle room or something. You're getting pretty tight with your payroll. That ain't the case right now. So budgetary, that's scapegoat.
So usually they've been kind of spacing these things out, but this is the second round of releases this month. Just about a couple of weeks ago, November 4th to be exact, the company had released 18 talents from the main roster, and that one included Keith Lee, Nia Jax, Karrion Kross, Eva Marie, amongst others, Scarlett Bordeaux and Orny Lorcan and Ember Moon. Hit Row. Yeah, just debuted on the main roster this past October. As we mentioned before, they had been drafted to SmackDown. It was all 4. It was said the company was looking at one single star that they could push, and then a tag team in the faction. But they were talking about for the tag team, it would be Adonis and Scott. And I'm thinking to myself, well, it would be Top Dolla and Scott as your tag team, and eventually they could go their own separate ways. But none of that went to fruition. BFAB was the first to go. The rest of her mates, they go later on in the week. John Morrison, he was gone for 8 years, re-signed with the company in 2019. They paired him immediately with The Miz during that time. And they ended up getting a featured match at WrestleMania 37, taken on as they lost to Bad Bunny and Damian Priest. And The Miz ended up turning on Morrison this past August, but ever since then, we haven't really, we've seen plenty of The Miz between Miz and Mrs. and Dancing with the Stars. And even a lumberjack match with zombies and shit. But with John Morrison, the best we could do is him doing yoga in the back.
I mean, I'm guessing they were going to set up that return with Morrison and Miz after he got done with Dancing with the Stars, which Miz is done with now. But apparently, we're not going to have that, which I thought would have been a pretty good feud, and they could have had the misses involved on both sides in this, but not anymore, obviously. And obviously, Mrs. Morrison, not happy at all.
No, she's not. Franky Monet, she had released some tweets earlier in the week describing how she felt about WWE releasing her husband, John Morrison. And she reacted with some very scathing, yo, fuck them. That was one of her tweets. And then another tweet she put out that said, stop supporting a company that had zero respect for their talent. You love pro wrestling, spend your money on the hundreds of other alternatives. This is wrong ethically. As employees, they don't care about us, talent, or fans. And then she also put out another tweet that said, we always have each other, and that's all that matters, and I love you with an at to John Morrison. So she's not very happy, and when it comes to Top Dollar, there was some reports on why he got released. Apparently, he was the catalyst of the entire Hit Row potentially being released as a whole. It said reportedly that Top Dollar, also AJ Francis, his name reportedly had heat on the main roster even before the release. And this was
they were only there for like a month.
Yeah. So this update, this is from the Wrestling Observer newsletter, that there was rumblings that Top Dollar had been having heat while Hit Row was even still in NXT, and this followed him to the main roster. And although Vince really enjoyed Francis, Top Dollar, and really had some ideas, and really saw him as being a star backstage, apparently he was rubbing a ton of people the wrong way while he was there, and that started to gain him a reputation. And apparently, since they got rid of him, Scott and Adonis, they were likely caught in the crossfire of this. So they were a casualty as a result, apparently, of Top Dollar having heat backstage.
Were they just pissed about him having the hosting job at that Treasure show on A&E? I mean, he did a pretty good job with that show. So he did some hosting of that before, they really emerged on NXT a little bit here in this past spring. But I don't know if that had to do anything with it. Maybe he got a big hit from that, and they were thinking, well, he's on other things. Who knows? I mean, it's kind of straight. I didn't hear any like Enzo stories backstage, like he's paying $10,000 to go to Conor McGregor fights and all that other stuff and showing off. But I mean, I wonder what kind of heat it really was.
Now, a majority of these releases, it appears that they have 90-day non-competes.
Yes.
So it looks like the middle of February will be the earliest that a lot of them will be able to compete. Tegan Knox, she had signed with WWE and had just made her main roster debut back in the summer in July. We made a makeshift tag team, her and Shotzi Blackheart, and they cut off the last names, or for her, they were calling her Knox, and they shortened it from Blackheart to just Shotzi. And they ended up earning a number one contender spot for the women's tag team titles that they never got.
They're still waiting on those shots.
Still waiting on them. They split this team up. Not that they ever should have been to begin with, but there you go there with Tegan Knox. Drake Maverick, he signed with the company back in 2017, and they immediately had named him the general manager of 205 Live, and that's where he had mostly been appearing. And as we had mentioned earlier, he had got released in April of 2020, but then he ended up signing a new deal months later, which ended up being one of the, I guess, the better feel-good stories of the pandemic for WWE, as far as him being in that tournament and really showing a lot of heart, and Triple H coming out with the presentation of a new contract and this, that, and the other. So, he squeezed out an extra 18 months, and he's fine. Jackson Riker, we talked about him earlier. He signed with the company back in 2017. He was a member of the Forgotten Sons on the NXT brand, in which they really didn't do much with him.
No.
In terms of wrestling. He was kind of he was just kind of back as the rest of the group were mainly working the matches. But, the stable, they ended up making their debut on the main roster in 2020. They, just like Sanity, they were dead on arrival.
Yes.
The group ended up being basically dropped because of shit that Riker did on Twitter, the controversial tweets. Mm-hmm. Everyone else got cut. He was the last remaining forgotten son that was left on the main roster. They ended up pairing him with Elias. They split those guys up and then ended their feud with a strap match. Shane Thorne, he had signed with the company back in 2016. He was in a tag team with Nick Miller. They went by TM61. And then he got called to the main roster in March of 2020. He was supposed to be, if you remember Shane Thorne, they put him immediately with MVP. We thought that MVP was going to be his mouthpiece, and that got quickly dropped. And then
with the guy that's Duke, whatever the hell his name is now at NXT. I mean, that's the two they put him together with.
Yeah, they sent him back to NXT, and then they brought him back to the main roster to be a part of Retribution. Slapjack.
Maybe he was the one with the chainsaw and the ropes. Maybe that's what they're pissed off about. That costs too much.
Yeah, Retribution, it didn't work out, and he pretty much had been regulated to dark matches ever since then. There you go. So releases there. Yeah. Do you have any more thoughts on these releases?
It's getting to a point where you're still trying to figure out. Yes, they sign a lot of talent. They've developed a lot of talent. But again, this is another sign that they just did not agree with Triple H's NXT vision at all. And it's kind of not, we see when they brought him up to the main roster, they were, like you said, dead on arrival. A lot of them. Now, there's a couple that have really tried their best to get over, but this is really like an embarkment on this.
Well, someone who has not been released is technically still under contract and a part of Triple H's vision of NXT. Johnny Gargano, he reportedly has not signed a new WWE contract as of this week, but the company has apparently made a strong offer. I don't know what that means, really, when they say this company's made a strong offer. But Gargano's contract, his is set to expire very soon, dude, December 3rd. Now, his wife, Candice LeRae, who she is currently away, she's pregnant. Her contract will expire sometime in 2022. You can't tell me if they didn't do that on purpose.
Yes, exactly.
So, in an update from the Wrestling Observer newsletter, they're reporting that Gargano is not signed as of press time, but that the officials, they're pushing very hard for him to stay with the company, and word is that the company made a very strong offer to remain with the company for a long time. So this is a multi-year, I'm guessing at least 3 years.
It's just puzzling. Gargano, I know he's been the face of NXT, but you see all these releases, they want to get rid of all that. So why would they make this? This one's puzzling to me.
Well, I guess we're going to find out whether or not if
he signs,
we're going to find out really what their plans are or how far apart or how close they are to a deal, because War Games is going to be on December 5th, which is technically 2 days after his contract's supposed to expire, and he's supposed to be in a tag team match with Dexter Lumis versus Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams.
They haven't really cared about future storylines, because you'll see someone on one week and then all of a sudden,
which, by the way, we're still trying to figure out how they made it out of Dexter Lumis. How did they come back to life? Was it Trick that died?
They died, or they were attacked by zombies. But again, how did Miz survive and show up on Raw the next night after getting eaten alive as well? So, I mean, it's the zombie rule in WWE.
The enigma right now is Kyle O'Reilly's WWE deal, which it's also said to be coming up sometime in December, and there is no word right now on how those talks are going. My guess is that O'Reilly's
going good, I'm going to guess.
Yeah, my guess is that Gargano with the wife, baby on the way, compared to what you would be looking at travel-wise being on the indies, yes, you could pick and choose a little bit more on what it is you want to do creatively and this, that, and the other. I'm sure he probably wants to be there a little bit more with her. I don't know what the better option is right now. Staying with WWE for that job security, if you will, for however long that could be for before, your name might end up on another one of these kind of reports, or do you take the chance of leaving the company and going out and...
You're right. This is quite the decision. they have to make a lot of these individuals. And, of course, everyone would just say, oh, go AEW. They're going to – I know Tony Khan's a billionaire, but eventually he ain't going to be able to sign everybody.
And eventually he's going to have to start trimming some financial fat.
They've got a lot of people on that roster that they're not doing really things with right now. So – and, we've heard some reports, too, of some people trying to do some bookings, and he's denying some of those requests a little bit more now than he did initially, trying to get AEW over in some of these markets. So, I mean, that might not be the answer either. So, yeah, in the Gargano case, you're right, though, with the wife still under contract for another 2 years, and she's going to be out probably a year after the child with, if we follow the Becky Lynch plan. They wanted Becky back right away, though. So with Candice, they may give her a little more time. I get, he is the job security for now. Maybe sign that contract. Maybe make sure there's a nice little release clause in there that I get so much amount when this happens, and that's what the deal will be.
Someone who unfortunately was not able to sign a new deal because they were a part of the November 4th releases, Karrion Kross. Well, that is no more. The former WWE Raw superstar, if you want to call him that.
Yeah.
He is back to using the Killer Kross name that he used on the Indies that got him recognized by Triple H. He's going to make his in-ring return at WrestlePro's Killer Instinct event. Yeah. That's going to be on Saturday, February 5th in Rahway, New Jersey. That will be around the time that his non-compete will be done.
Yeah, with the Killer Kross, I mean, that's like kind of his home territory, that, northeast area where he's from and all that. So we'll see. I'm going to guess Scarlett will be there.
Scarlett will be on that card. Yeah. Kross, he's going to be going up against former ROH star Flip Gordon at the event, and Scarlett is going to be making an in-ring return as she will be facing Harley Cameron in her wrestling debut. So Harley Cameron, she is the fiance of WWE NXT star Zion Quinn. So also on this card is going to be Matt Cardona and a cast of others. So
Nick Gage.
As of right now, I do not see him on that list, but you never know. We get run-ins all over the place. So there you go. So that's the story. That's news on Karrion Kross. Well, brother, Hulk Hogan reportedly not doing too well these days with the health. He's dealing with some really bad health issues. This according to the Woo Nation Uncensored podcast that kicked off earlier this week with Ric Flair and Mark Madden. They talked about the Hulkster, and Ric Flair said they are still close friends, and he thanked Hulk for what he's done for him and the family over the years, and said they talk probably about every week or two. They have a great relationship, and just kind of talked about Hogan's health right now. And this isn't a surprise, right? I mean, I don't really want to go into a lot of the quotes that Flair talks about. I mean, a lot of it was really not fluff, but talking about how good of friends they are. But, I mean, you talk about a lot of these surgeries over the years. I want to say that it was Brooke that had recently talked about he's had about, just in the last 10 to 12 years, about 25 surgeries, a majority of those being on that back.
Yes. I mean, you can only do so much to correct all that, and I'm sure, eventually it's starting to add up and take its toll on there. And now, I know with Rick and Hogan, they are very good friends. I know Hogan was there when Rick was really having his issues. He was like one of the three people that came visit him right away when he heard something was going on. So, I mean, I know Hulk, they got a tight bond over that. Plus, of course, all the years they worked together. So, I mean, it's good to hear that, they are still good friends. But, I guess with the Hulkster, like you said, all that time taking slams. Wasn't it just like one of our earlier episodes, there was rumors that he wanted to actually be in a match at Mania. Yeah. Remember that? It's just like, it wasn't going to happen. He wanted to still make an appearance though in the ring. So, I mean, now we just hope he's okay.
Yeah, Flair, in terms of being a good buddy, he talked about Hogan sending him money to help pay some bills when Reed had unfortunately passed away. And he said he, had to call Hogan one day and said, I need $14,000. He said that Hogan said, call this person, and Flair had it within the hour.
Wow.
So that's kind of, another surgery, I guess, that Hogan has had recently that's said to be helping him out a lot, and it's not keeping him out of the gym. It's saying that he still works out in the gym twice a day. So that Mania match, I guess he's still got it on the mind, man.
On that, yeah.
Don't know if you really give a fuck about this or not, PJ, because this was just kind of thrown together. But there will be a 25-man dual-branded Battle Royal that has now been announced for Sunday's WWE Survivor Series pay-per-view. Yeah, Sonya Deville, she announced this Battle Royal during the Survivor Series Go-Home edition of SmackDown, knowing that there will be 25 men that will commemorate the 25 years since this guy, I think he did all right for himself, The Rock, made his WWE debut at the 1996 Survivor Series.
What the hell's the winner get?
This is being noted that the winner of the high-stakes Battle Royal will earn brand supremacy for his show. Oh, God. Yeah, we got 14 Raw stars that have been announced for this match, while there will be 11 SmackDown superstars that have been confirmed.
So
would you like to know
even shittier storytelling on there?
Yeah, I'm going to give you the Raw lineup so far. We got AJ Styles, who's going to be in this. Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Omos.
Okay,
Otis.
well, there's your winner.
Chad Gable.
Yeah.
Basically, your tag teams will be in this. Gable, Ziggler, Rude, Benjamin, Alexander Cruz, Commander Aziz, Montez Ford, Angelo Dawkins, R-Truth, and T-Bar. R-Truth and T-Bar are the only guys in this match for the Raw side that are not currently in a tag team. On SmackDown, you got Cesaro, Ricochet, Matt Mansoor, Sami Zayn, Angel, Humberto, Jinder Mahal, Shanky, Eric, Ivar, and Drew Gulak, who will be representing SmackDown.
Is this on the kickoff show at least, or are they putting this on the main card? I mean, this is going to be brutal.
I just want to throw it out there. I mean, I've never found a weaker excuse ever for having a gimmick match.
No, and to commemorate The Rock's 25th
you'd be better off just running a vignette piece.
Yes.
A 5-minute vignette piece.
Of The Rock.
Because I think that this Battle Royal, that's exactly how long it's going to go for, about 5 minutes.
Yeah, you could get more hype and more eyeballs and more crowd reaction if they did that.
You know, we're probably also going to get out of this a new 24/7 champ for 6 minutes and 30 seconds. You know there's going to be a 24/7 running in this, too.
Oh, yeah, you are probably right with that.
All right. The worst wrestling show on television, Monday Night Raw. We ended up having this... the go home for Survivor Series on the Raw side. They held this in Indianapolis, and this actually was a show. I will say that I don't know if this was done on purpose, but I thought for the most part to build up Survivor Series, the weakest Survivor Series build ever.
Yeah.
They kind of came with their A and B game this week, I thought, between their flagship shows. For Monday Night Raw, it opened with Big E coming out, doing an in-ring promo. He vowed to take a piece out of Roman Reigns at Survivor Series, and that Reigns would never get back, and that is going to be serving as payback for Reigns and the Usos for what they did to his New Day buddies of Kofi and Xavier Woods. And then that's when Big E turned his attention to Kevin Owens because of Owens' attack to end last week's Raw. Owens responded by coming to the entrance ramp and saying that he did snap the previous week, but that he was forced into it. And if perception is reality, he'll now be the bad guy everyone expects him to be. As Big E then proceeded to leave the ring to chase after Owens, he got attacked by the Usos. And they gave him a pretty damn good beatdown, actually.
Yeah, they did.
And I thought it really set the tone, and they came out as true heels. And this actually felt like, okay, this match between Big E and Roman finally kind of means something now.
Yes. It only took about 2 weeks. Well, the problem is he had the damn crown jewel shit. And you just got off of Roman and Brock, a big heavyweight match, and there was no time. And they just forgot to build after Crown Jewel that, hey, we got this big thing called Survivor Series coming up. They failed to tell that story for about 2.5, 3 weeks. And all of a sudden, boom, a week before, we're like, Survivor Series is this Sunday. They're finally, and you were on this too. You were saying they should have been telling this story when Kofi first got attacked and hit out. They finally got around to it this basically Monday. And it's just like way too late.
Also on this show, we have the Usos and Seth Rollins. That was basically your main event. The Usos and Seth defeating Big E and RK Bro. This is with a pinfall. Mm-hmm. Rollins pinned Riddle. Riddle ran out to save Big E as the Usos are RK Bros opponents for Survivor Series for this weekend. That led to this tag match. Rollins, he got involved. Orton ran in to make the save, and then the match became a 6-man tag. So that's how we got this thing going. Rollins then eventually got the win after hitting Riddle with a pair of rolling elbows. And then after the match, the Usos, they tried to go after Riddle and attack him, but then Orton was able to hit Jey Uso with an RKO, and then that left Jey in the ring, where Big E then delivered a, quote, message to Roman Reigns, hitting a big ending. So this ended well. It served its purpose. I didn't think it was top notch, but I would have to grade it a little lower than I usually would, just because of the fact of what took so fucking long.
Yeah, exactly.
To finally get to this point to make people give a damn about this pay-per-view.
Yeah, it took that long to get to that, and this is going to be your main event match. I mean, I would think, unless they're going to put Becky and Charlotte on last, with all the Twitter talk and heat and everything they've been garnering with that, maybe? I don't know, but yeah, this build took forever to get to.
Also on this show, we had Bianca Bel-Air. A lot of fans have been still a little salty about how Bianca's been booked. And look, I got to say this. They were starting to go down the Drew McIntyre road with Bianca Belair. You could not have her continuously lose, and still earn title shots. Yep. Eventually, the fans would have gotten sick of that, and you could run that risk of the fans turning on Bianca if she can't ever win. Yes. You're getting into that Ziggler, Drew McIntyre, and not that Drew McIntyre's been rough, but we saw this with McIntyre and Lashley. We didn't want to see that with Bianca and Becky, but she ended up defeating Tamina via pinfall. Yeah. We got a KOD Dewdrop, or the KOD from Bianca, that pin Tamina, but then we got Dewdrop that came out after the match, making it clear that she has a target set on Belair's back, and I came to you, and I said, is this what was planned for Nia Jax? Was this supposed to be the plan? When Nia said that they wanted her back, which would have been this week, and she needed the more time off, and she unfortunately ended up losing her job. She got released, and then all of a sudden, out of the spur of the moment, Dewdrop, who has been happy, is starting to kind of show shades of being a heel. Is Dewdrop taking the spot of Nia Jax? Is this where we were supposed to go? Give Bianca Belair, get her reset, have someone credible, someone kind of like a giant that she could get over and go through as she gets back on the up climb towards the world title.
Yeah, it is, and it shows how lazy the booking is, or the storytelling and creative right now, because they thought it's just so interchangeable right now. Yeah, okay, we don't have Nia anymore. Well, we got Dewdrop. She's another big athlete, just like Nia. We can put her in that monster role from the women's division, and it'll be credible. And I guess to their part, it will be, but it's still, again, lazy booking and everything else they've got going on now.
We got Liv Morgan, who came face-to-face with the champ, Becky Lynch. She ended up cutting a promo about her match with Charlotte Flair at Survivor Series before the new number one contender. I forgot Liv Morgan is now the new number one contender for the match. She came down to the ring. Lynch, she took a few verbal jabs at Morgan before a brawl erupted. And Morgan was able to counter the manhandle slam. So they're at least trying to get you ready for post-Survivor Series so we can get into Liv Morgan and Becky Lynch. And I know you're not a big fan of this right now, but one thing that they at least have going for them is that Liv Morgan actually really does have fans. Now, you can those
not
fans
on Monday night.
But, well, if you read Twitter.
But that crowd reaction, when they saw Liv Morgan, you heard more I mean, it was not.
Because people know she's not going to beat Becky,
and that's the problem. She's not going to have that chance. And now, I mean, we pick on AEW about this, the multiple angles at once, and I know they got Survivor Series going on, but this is starting to get a little confusing because almost every goddamn match with a title contender, then there's another third person involved in it. Are we going to have 3 matches where there's going to be 4 people interfering in each match because the number one contender is going to have to interfere in that match too because they want to make their point? They're setting themselves up for, quite the cluster potentially on Sunday and then thereafter.
We got the Street Profits who defeated Alpha Academy via pinfall after Montez Ford hit Gable with the almighty roll-up.
Yes. I mean,
We at least got a finishing maneuver in the match of Zelina Vega after she defeated Nikki Ash with the code RED.
Yes.
So the Queen
keeps using that, yeah.
Yeah, she prevailed. Rhea Ripley defeated Carmella via pinfall after hitting the Riptide, and then Ripley was able to get some measure of revenge after her tag partner lost to Vega. So that's where we're going with the champs right now. I guess Carmella and Zelina Vega are the number one contenders for these belts.
Yeah,
Is
let's
that
hope
what I'm
they
getting?
get these belts off Nikki Ash and Rhea Ripley just so we can see Rhea in singles again. This is getting way too long in this program now.
Probably the best match of the night. Kevin Owens, Finn Balor. Owens gets the victory as he should have. I don't know if this is the opponent maybe that Owens should have had, but they need to keep Owens fresh right now with some wins because after Rollins, he's going to be next in line, or is he with the contract coming up? So I don't know. We shall see. But he was able to hit a stunner on Balor. And so there you go. Omos and AJ Styles, they defeated Dolph Ziggler and Robert Roode via a pinfall. Styles was able to hit Roode with a phenomenal forearm, and then Omos stayed dominant as he ran rapid all throughout Ziggler and Roode in this match, and Styles finished it off. So the recently returned almighty Bobby Lashley, he ended up defeating Rey Mysterio via submission with the Hurt Lock. Mysterio, he was trying to get some revenge after Lashley had dominated his son Dominic the week before. Well, Mysterio found himself on the receiving end of the same maneuver, and before the show ended up going off the air, Adam Pearce announcing that Rey Mysterio had been removed from the Raw Survivor Series team because apparently Pearce has a big issue now with the Mysterios. Austin Theory has now entered the ring at that point to hit Dominic with an ATL, and then Pierce added Theory to the team. Again, this is an angle I don't understand. Pierce is not a GM for either of the show. He's on both shows. Well, we don't understand why all of a sudden he's more for Raw, but then we kind of saw little shades of stuff on SmackDown where Sonya Deville is overturning some of Pierce's decisions, or at least wants to.
Yes.
It doesn't make sense. We haven't really seen a divide between them as a pair.
This is the first week where they were both not on the same show. So 1 week out, and I noticed Pierce is wearing red now in his outfits, and DeVille was more blue, so I guess we're going with that, even though, you only tell that story 1 week to go before the pay-per-view. No one's going to catch on that.
Yeah, I don't know about you. I say, I got to give this show, would have been a B+. I got to give it barely a B. I got to give it a B-. What took so long to finally give us a go-home Raw show to make people somewhat give a shit about the Survivor Series? And you got Peacock, you got NBC Universal paying big-time money to have the network on your streaming service. You would think that NBC might want to put a little heat to WWE and say, hey, we need some eyeballs to this thing. We're paying a lot of money. We're paying $1 billion for the rights to stream this, and we need eyeballs on Sunday. Okay, that's fine. It's not WrestleMania. We know we're not getting main attraction type guys and gals on the card, but we do need eyeballs to the stream.
And, oh, by the way, it's in Brooklyn. It's in your backyard. One of your master places at Barclays where you used to have SummerSlam as a traditional spot. Hot market usually for them. I don't know the ticket sales or whatnot, but again, usually when it's in New York, that's when the networks too, they say, okay, we got to make a big deal with it. The whole Rock 25 thing that has really come on in the last week. They haven't promoted this whole Rock 25 thing until about this week to go. So, I mean, they're
and
trying
what does it matter?
to that.
People know he's not going to be there.
Correct. Now, I told you about the Fallon interview with Roman Reigns on there. Fallon was trying to push will Rock show up at this thing? But Reigns answered, well, I don't, no one told me that he is, and I would know. And it didn't sound like he was in character either. It was just like, I know Red Notice is doing really good on Netflix right now. Good movie, too, if you haven't checked it out. But, I don't think Rock is going to be dropping by Barclays, but who knows? I mean, that could be their only saving grace.
Did you watch that movie with your wife?
I did.
Was she giving you the cold shoulder? Was she paying absolute attention to Ryan Reynolds and The Rock as this is going?
I was too. I love that pairing. I love that. They're fantastic. Ever since Hobbs and Shaw, I am a fan of the Reynolds and Rock combo, and they were great. Now, Gail Gadot, too. I'm not going to lie.
Right.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yep.
WWE SmackDown, their go-home show did earlier this evening. They were in Hartford and pretty close to the backyard.
Yes, they were.
And this show revolved around Roman Reigns and the Usos and the New Day without Kofi.
Yes.
This is to build, again, more of Roman Reigns and Big E going into the pay-per-view for Survivor Series. They had just taken out Kofi, and then they had humiliated Xavier Woods last week on SmackDown. So they come out, and Reigns and the Usos and Heyman. Now, Reigns is still in the back with Heyman. The Usos start off the show, and they're really hyping up, the Survivor Series about Reigns going to do some damage to Big E and that they plan on doing some damage to RK Bro. In the ring is already the King's chair with the crown, everything that they took from Xavier the week before. And so they come down to the ring, and as they are making fun of the idea, they get Woods to come out. Mm-hmm. And they basically broke everything.
Yes.
That was royal about Woods winning King of the Ring.
Yes.
They broke the scepter, the throne, and Woods even shedded some tears as he was standing there in the aisle as they are
dropped
damaging.
Some Clear Eyes in when the camera wasn't on. Yeah.
Yes, he was actually shedding tears as they were destroying his property. He couldn't take it anymore. His pride got the better of him. He decided to run the ring and try to do something about it. That's when the Usos put a beat down on him, and they forced him to basically watch his reign stomped on the crown.
Yes.
So that's how we ended that segment.
Now, in the promo, there's a little hint. I was thinking about this. Heyman did mention, you're even better than Brock Lesnar as you're the king. Is the 30 days up, and will he be there Sunday night? I think that could be their only saving grace.
Well, what do we have?
Brock
Lesnar is teasing that he has bought a ticket to a SmackDown show. Is that going to be the first SmackDown after the Survivor Series?
It would be. But that's what I'm trying to figure out is, okay, if you're not having Rock at this thing, you better have Brock. The 30-day storyline thing, I think it comes up. We're close to this, so it was just the timing of him being mentioned in that promo. When, again, another thing where he didn't need to be mentioned in it, but Heyman snuck it in there. Maybe we'll see him this Sunday night.
Yeah, so Paul Heyman, he later on announced that Reigns had accepted Woods' challenge to meet him in the ring to close the show. So this is what we got out of that. We get Woods at the end of the show. He enters the ring. He calls Reigns out. Reigns comes out, but his plans is that he's not going to be coming along. He's going to be coming with his cousins, so he's walking to the ring before Heyman pointed to the ramp, called for the Usos. Both Usos, they come flying out behind the curtains one by one, and then we get Big E's music that hits in the WWE champ. He makes his way out and towards Reigns. Big E then they did a good job. They had him act in a rage of fury and kind of beat Reigns down, throws him into the ring. And the Usos ran in to each eat a big ending from Big E, and then Woods ended up hitting a dive on both Usos. Reigns, he runs in, hits a Superman punch before nearly running into a big ending from Big E. He managed to escape and run out of the ring to avoid that. So this segment, again, they were continuously building that momentum to get you to give a damn about Survivor Series for this Sunday. I thought it was solid. Again, did what it needed to do. I thought for the most part this was a solid SmackDown show. It didn't really offend me. They didn't do any goofy shit. They didn't really do anything that really made me hit you up and say, yeah, what the fuck is this? That's not really what I got out of this show.
No, it was solid. It was good. It's been better than it has been, and for a go-home show, that's what you want, to hype up and get the stories right. Reigns, again, I mean, he did a good job. He was, trying to be sneaky, but also he still has some chicken shit heel in him where he escaped the ring and ran, even though he's a big guy and doesn't need to do it. I enjoyed watching some of that. Heyman, of course, continues to be gold, especially when he was yelling for the Usos music. and all that good stuff. And yeah, I mean, they continue to run the show. I mean, that it's the truth. They are that show, and yeah, 2 segments, open and close. That's I think they got to have them on every week like that.
Let's see what else. Let's run down real quick what else you got on this show earlier tonight. We got Sheamus defeating Cesaro, Ricochet, and Jinder Mahal. Basically, the loser, if you didn't win this match, then you were going to be in that 25-man battle royal. A battle royal that no one gives a fuck about.
No.
But Sheamus ended up hitting Cesaro with a brogue kick, and that finish came after Ridge Holland, who had been really caping for Sheamus in backstage promos the last couple of weeks. He ended up running down to the ring to provide a distraction of Cesaro and helping Sheamus get the pin. So Sheamus has secured the final spot on the Team SmackDown for Survivor Series. We also got Natalya and Shayna Baszler defeating Naomi and Aaliyah via pinfall. This is after Natalya rolled up. There's that term again, the roll-up.
Well, this was a quick count.
This was a quick count. Yes, rolled up Naomi. The referee issued a very fast count. The referee later approached Sonya Deville and asked if she had done a good job. That's when Deville said that she didn't know her and that she didn't associate with crooked referees. So we got Jeff Hardy defeating Madcap Moss via pinfall with the roll-up. These damn roll-ups, I tell you. Drew McIntyre, he was at ringside to lend a hand. And even the odds with Happy Corbin, who was at ringside. So after the match, we got McIntyre, who dropped Corbin with a Claymore. Also in action, Shinsuke Nakamura. He defeated Garza via pinfall after hitting the Kinshasa. Sasha Banks defeated Shotzi via submission. I didn't really think we needed a definitive finish in this match.
I didn't either. I hated the finish.
I think we should have had some kind of DQ. We should have had, because right now what we're trying to do is we're trying to build this towards being something without title.
Yeah. Well, Sonya Deville said, "I want you to figure it out since you're going to be on the Survivor Series team." So that's why they had him go in the ring, and then after the match, they had to do the old shaking hands thing and all that. But I hated that they had to have her tap out in this. You are right. If it wasn't Shotzi going over, I didn't want to see this tap out, and it was, I mean, they tried to say it was telling a story that she couldn't use her arm and all that, but it was just like, no, you didn't need that in here.
Banks was able to defeat Shotzi via the submission. She shook hands with her before hitting her with the backstabber and then walking off. So my thing is, who the hell... Who's the heel?
Yeah, and you made Shotzi look like shit.
Yes, I didn't understand that at all. So there you go. That's your SmackDown rundown for November 19th. On to AEW news. Kenny Omega, the former champ, dropped it at Full Gear last weekend to Hangman Adam Page. It was perfect timing, and we didn't. I can't believe we didn't factor this into our preview. Omega, we had just announced, along with everyone else, that he had been banged up for the last several months and was going to need some surgery, was going to need some time off. We got that announcement earlier in the week that he is scheduled to undergo multiple surgeries and reportedly, because of this, will not be defending his AAA Mega title at TRIPLEMANIA Regia 2 on December 3rd in Monterrey, Mexico. So AAA, he's not going to be there. He underwent an evaluation for his various ailments and injuries this week, and that's just days after dropping the title to Hangman Page. So it's said that not just for the last couple of months, but apparently Omega's been working hurt for a couple of years now. So we're talking since the beginning of AEW at least that he's been working through this, and he's going to take some time and heal up, and he just wanted to make sure he did the right thing on the way out and let Hangman win the title and made sure that the storyline went through as smooth as they could, being that Hangman had also taken some weeks off as well because of the birth of his kid.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. They did a good job of hiding that, because remember hearing that, what was it, back in the summer before All Out, but I think it was Double or Nothing when we heard, he's having issues, he's having some injury issues, so, that heads up for that. But yeah, they completely forgot all about that as we factored it into these, into the storyline itself and everything else. So, again, kudos to him for putting up with it as long as he could. But that's the thing, a lot of wear and tear. That's the thing with going all over with the indie matches and everything like that. Yeah, that's good that you could draw on all that, but you're putting yourself at risk a whole hell of a lot more than usual. And best wishes to him, and hope he comes back good and healthy.
Yeah, amongst some of the injuries, he's said to have been working most of the year with a torn labrum in the shoulder. He also worked for months with an abdominal hernia and also some knee issues. And it said that he's dealt with vertigo since around 2018, which is caused the room to kind of start spinning while he was in the ring wrestling. Ooh. So, so there you go, Omega.
Well, is he doing this, too, to get ready for the January 4th Tokyo Dome? I mean, he's always involved with that, so, I mean, that's on the radar, so maybe he's taking that time now, and he could heal up in about a month and a half to be ready for that.
Well, Omega also, it said that he wanted to get this done now because behind the scenes he's been wondering, has he worked too much with these injuries and has he done damage to the point where maybe his career may have to shorten because of this? So that's something, I don't think, and say what you want about Omega, reading this and coming across a story like this, you never want to see careers end shortly on account of injuries.
No.
You don't want to see great guys and gals also stay around too long where their skills diminish and it's to the point where you just don't want to, they get exposed, but you also don't ever want to see careers cut short over injuries. So whatever it is, hopefully get that stuff cleaned up and come back soon because they are going to need him.
Yes, they will.
When he comes back, they're going to have to thrust him into a primetime real estate spot. They've got the horses now. And I'm going to hope that you keep him with Callis for the foreseeable future, even when he comes back.
I don't know anymore.
But
I think
with the way we're
done.
doing the Super Click thing,
I think that's done because, well, as we get to it, major heel turn happened, and I think when he comes back, he'll be facing that individual.
Right, because we never got a defined winner in that match.
Correct.
AEW Winter is coming. It's coming back.
It snows every damn week.
Yeah, December 15th. They're going to be doing this in Garland, Texas.
Because that's what you think of winter.
Yeah,
Texas.
So, that announcement was made during the Rampage episode. So this is Dynamite, December 15th, Garland, Texas. Winter is coming now. Of course, we got Winter coming last year, and this would have been
Sting's debut, right?
That would have been Sting's debut, yes.
But, I mean, the whole thing, too, is, part of the, HBO shit.
And that's actually where Omega, if you remember, Omega won the AEW title from Moxley that night,
right,
too.
with that deadly loaded microphone. But, again, I mean, it's part of that. So, I mean, they got the HBO Max so they can use some of that shit on there. But there's not any new episodes of that to premiere, so it's kind of strange to keep on calling it that.
Chris Jericho, you won't have to wait too long for Chris Jericho's next cruise because Jericho has announced the Rock and Wrestling Rager at Sea 4-leaf clover cruise details. A lot of verbiage for a he's announced it. This is going to be his 4th cruise, and this is going to be going down next year at Miami, Florida. They're going to Nassau, the Bahamas, from Monday, March 14th through Friday, March 18th. And that cruise is going to be taking place aboard the Norwegian Pearl. And AEW said to be once again partnering with Jericho to provide the in-ring action on the cruise, along with music, some comedies, some podcasts that are going to be recorded. Mm-hmm. And they are right now taking some bookings being accepted now via the ChrisJerichoCruise.com. And various price points, offered payment options, all that. And I'll be honest with you, I'm going to look into it.
Really?
I'm going to look into it.
Okay.
So the cruise is right now promising to be the most epic St. Patrick's Day party of all time. You're going to get 3 Fozzy shows, 4 days of AEW wrestling matches in the ring on the pool deck, some autograph sessions, the Are You Smarter Than La Champion game show, plus some performances and activities with wrestlers and comedians. Some additional cruise details that have been announced yesterday. Jericho is going to be, of course, the master of ceremonies. The guest of honor will be the world's strongest man, Mark Henry.
Okay.
We're going to get Mickey James, who will be the guest cruise director. Your guest host, you're going to love this. Guest host, Doc Gallows and Carl Anderson. So we're going to get some fuckery going on in that.
Yeah.
Brad Williams will be the director of labs. We got his dad, Ted Irvine, Jericho's dad, that is, being the Goodwill ambassador, and some special guests. This is pretty loaded for the most part. You're going to get Mick Foley,
Okay.
You're going to get Nick Aldis.
All right.
Because, of course, Nick Aldis said,
with
my
Mickey,
lady ain't going to be on a damn ship with a bunch of weirdos without me for a few days. Brutus the Barber Beefcake will be on this. And if you need some regulation going down on this boat event, just in case somebody gets out of line, King Haku will be on board.
Oh, man.
So you don't want any of that action.
Tongue and death grips for everyone.
Make sure that your taxes are paid up early by the time you get on this cruise, because Mike Rotunda will be on the ship.
Well, of course, he's going to make a deposit in international waters. You don't have to worry about anything. Cayman Islands, maybe a stop there.
Dan Lambert will be on the boat.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah, Dan Lambert is also going to be recording his World Title Time Machine podcast on the ship as well. You're going to get Swoggle.
Okay,
you're going to get Matt Cardona. You're going to get Brian Myers.
That crew.
Jonathan Gresham, formerly of Ring of Honor. The Boogeyman will be on the boat. ODB also, and you're going to get Jeff Dye as one of the comedians. For the music, we got Fozzy. We got Quiet Riot that will be on here. Raven will be also on the. I mean, it's a go online, check it out, and
I know he said, Jericho on his podcast, I think this week or last week, he said the first cruise that he had, 6 figures he lost. Oof. He lost a lot of money on the first cruise, but obviously he said it turned around after the second one and now for the layup. But he said it was kind of hard to swallow that first one when you lost that much. But obviously he's got it going now. Some
unfortunate news, and this is definitely unfortunate because they just got this person back into action. But AEW's The Butcher is reportedly injured once again. This is following an AEW Dynamite match on TNT that saw the Butcher and the Blade teaming up again for the first time in months. They took a loss to Orange Cassidy and New Japan Pro Wrestling's never open weight champion, Ishii. The Butcher, he reportedly suffered a torn bicep in that match. They had just gotten him back, and this is according to Brian Alvarez of the Wrestling Observer Live. No word yet on how long the Butcher will be out of action, but they are saying the time frame for an injury like this is 3 to 4 months. Now, with the Butcher, they had just gotten a match back. As I previously mentioned, he had suffered a hand injury in a match that he had lost to Darby Allin on AEW's House Always Wins event back in April. He had been gone ever since. He had worked a dark taping after the injury, but he was out of action until September 5th, which was the all-out pay-per-view. But really sucks, man. It's especially when I was really hoping we get the Blade and the Butcher away from the fucking Hardy clique.
You know. He gets all the rejected tag teams, and they keep going because they are a badass combo. They
look badass.
They look badass.
So why are they being booked to lose?
I know, and they're with Hardy. It just maybe this was going to be a breakaway eventually, but it's bad. I know he's in a band too, so he's got that going on. Probably I don't know if he's playing the guitar or not or whatnot, but this will probably affect that. So. Unfortunate again, snake bitten kind of come back, and all of a sudden for that to happen, it sucks.
For AEW Dynamite, we got that. This is coming off the heels of Full Gear 2021. That was the celebration of Hangman Adam Page defeating Kenny Omega for the AEW World title. We got the celebration that started this show. And Hangman Page, he got the You Deserve It chants, which wrestlers... Let's keep it real. They typically hate, for the most part.
Yeah.
He shut it down real quick.
Yes, he did.
By saying that he earned it.
Yes, he did.
Which then led to some fucking you earned it chants.
Yep.
Which I'm sure wrestlers will grow to hate.
But again, the whole optics of this was strange because you had the Goof Troop waiting in the ring as they were trying to billboard and preview the show, and you just see them sitting there in the ring. And then you see the music. It took like 2.5, 3 minutes to finally hit his music and come down. The Dark Order.
And what you're referring to is the Dark Order. And I told you, this is going to be against probably the majority. Mm-hmm. I know the Dark Order, they have grown, and a lot of it, after, post-death of Brody Lee. it's a little too goofy for me.
Yes.
And they had Paige hanging around him.
Yes.
For the longest time, and I thought in order to get Paige to be taken serious again for the world title, you didn't have to break him away from them. And they did that.
Yeah, they did.
They did that as they needed to, because you needed Paige to get back on track.
Mm-hmm.
Well, now he's the world champ. We go from one world champ who was coming down with a goofy click to transitioning the belt to a guy who's now hanging out with the goofy click.
With no incredible in it.
No.
With the other one with Omega, you had some credible
I would
guys.
have no problem with Paige hanging with the Dark Order if they had one person that you could say that person is going to want to go after that belt and can legitimately defeat Paige for it. They don't have that.
No, they don't.
They're just all supporters. They're clapping it up.
Yep. And they get on the YouTube show and they're telling jokes and all the good stuff. And then it's just a bad optic right now. And like we said, we were happy that he got away from it a little bit. And, of course, at the end of Full Gear 2, they were in the ring and gave him the hug. So I guess that should have been telling us it's going to happen again. They're going to reunite. So here it was.
So he's in the ring. He's giving his promo. And then we get Bryan Danielson, who defeated Miro in the #1 Contenders tournament. Mm-hmm. So he is next in line for Paige's belt. And this, coming down, and it started off as babyface versus babyface, but this turned real quick.
Yes.
And they got to the shit. They got with the shits immediately. It got tense. Hangman Adam Page, he noted that unlike Bryan Danielson, he managed to beat Omega in under 30 minutes.
Yes.
So there's the first jab. Boom.
Yes.
And then Danielson said that WrestleMania on AEW TV.
Yes, he did.
And then instantly became apparent that he was all too happy to play the heel.
Because he defended the belt the next night after WrestleMania.
Yes,
so he was getting that.
We got a WrestleMania drop, and he was buying in. He went ahead, and they played to the crowd.
Yep.
The crowd start booing him. Yeah. So there you go. We then get a match of Danielson versus Evil Uno.
Well, the whole pull apart thing made no sense either, because all of a sudden, Danielson goes to attack Page before they set this whole thing up, and it's like, okay, if he has, this tells you how not credible the Dark Order is. 10 guys in the Dark Order, and Danielson doesn't give a fuck. He's trying to beat the hell out of them.
He was looking like Thanos for a
yes,
little bit.
Yeah, and then there's like 4 guys trying to hold him back of the Dark Order who are supposed to have Adam Page's back.
Right.
It's like, okay, you guys' credibility is just complete shit. There's no badasses. You're not sticking up for your guy.
Well, we knew
it was just like, are you kidding me?
Well, we knew Cabana. We knew Colt Cabana was probably going to be one of the ones trying to split this up. He and Danielson are cool from their days in ROH and all that. But still, he's a heel at this point. So, Danielson, he doubled down on the heel turn, apparently, in that match against Evil Uno. He delivered some running knees and reminded the crowd that he had just kicked Evil Uno's fucking head in. So we got that. This week, Danielson used another finisher. The finisher for this week was the triangle choke on Evil Uno in this match. And so I don't know. I mean, I just want to... I don't even give a shit to see Danielson run through the Dark Order, which is what I'm sure they're going to have.
That's going to get long.
But that's what we're going to get before you get a Danielson Hangman Page match. So there you go.
But he's the #1 contender. Why does he have to? I mean, they set this up where he's the #1 contender, and we've seen when you get a #1 contender, you're usually on that next week's Dynamite for a match. We saw that with Scorpio Sky, Darby Allin. They didn't wait for the next pay-per-view. They rushed it right away. So are we saving this for Winter is Coming or something like that? I hope not, because this is a money match. It's a pay-per-view match.
We got Orange Cassidy and Tomohiro Ishii defeating the Butcher and the Blade, as we talked about earlier. The Butcher getting hurt in this match. Ishii walked out to Orange Cassidy's music and then had him start the match, which was odd because the crowd was definitely familiar with Ishii. So
yeah.
But, the match, it was, I mean, they made Ishii look strong, I'll say that. I mean, he came across the badass, and you saw Orange Cassidy pulling off the fucking Jimmy Fallon SNL in the background. He's cracking up on, I mean, he's just having a ball watching this shit. But, Yeah, we ended up having this match end with a brain buster to beat the Blade, and you said you weren't a big fan of the match ending with the brain buster.
Well, I don't know.
A very safe brain buster, I might
Very
add.
safe brain buster, but you see all this other stuff for finishing moves, guys flipping around and everything else, and I'm supposed to buy, well, that's what did it in this match, was a lackluster kind of brain buster. I'm like, oh, okay. Maybe it was just the optics, too, the pairing of him and Orange Cassidy. It's just like, this guy's obviously kind of a badass heel, but we're going to put him in the best friends. I didn't get it. I really didn't.
We got a match of Hikaru Shida, the first in AEW to reach 50 wins.
There it is.
Facing Nyla Rose, and Vicky Guerrero got some good heat coming out. Fans were all over her. While working over Shida's left knee, Nyla Rose hit a senton splash on Shida's leg, which was very unique to say the least. And there was Nyla Rose defeating Hikaru Shida. She forced Shida to tap. So now that has Nyla Rose, because during the match, halfway during the match, they put up a graphic on the screen to let you know that Shida won 51 matches, and Nyla Rose has now, she at 150 coming into this match. They are now tied for the all-time wins. So I guess where's Nyla Rose's plaque? My thing, and I told you, instead of having Shida get this 50th win against Serena Deeb, you actually had a good angle here if we're really to care about the wins in this match.
Yes.
You could have had these two race to see who would hit the 50 first. Have two matches where they end up with no contest or whatever, and then you have the third one blow off for the 50th win.
Yeah.
Well, no one knew that Nyla Rose was that fucking close to Hikaru Shida in all-time wins in AEW until you put up the graphic on Wednesday.
I think they just make this shit up.
Nobody's really watching Dark like that to see Nyla Rose. No. I didn't understand that. Why use Serena Deeb in that spot when you just could have had Nyla Rose and Hikaru Shida, and it would have meant something that had nothing to do with the AEW women's title, because Britt Baker's not losing that anytime soon.
Yeah, and you need something else in the women's division right now. I know you have the TBS tournament going on.
I told you this had Gail Kim, Awesome Kong type of stuff to it.
This could have been something, another storyline interesting. Okay, yeah, like you said, if we're making the 50 wins thing a big deal now, why don't you have the two people that are actually going for the 50 wins instead of this program with Deeb and Shida? Now, the matches have been good with Shida and Deeb. I'm not going to complain about that, but yeah, this thing with Nyla, I don't know. It was strange.
Yeah. We had CM Punk confronting MJF. MJF, he deferred to Sean Spears, and he gave MJF the look as if to say, I get to speak, I guess. MJF, he vowed to start a bidding war in the year of 2024 as he continues his public contract negotiations on AEW TV. MJF said that he deserves to be the next AEW World Champion. Excalibur then called him out for being for wrestling 3 times a year. So CM Punk, he didn't say a word to MJF as AEW. I guess they're just waiting to, I don't know, just kind of biding time to, using this to build up and promote a face-to-face showdown between the two. So,
yeah,
I gotta say, we've got to make MJF
look strong.
You know where I'm going.
Yeah, it's got to be.
Punk's going to lose.
Yep, it's got to be to him.
It's got to be to him.
It has to. it does. I mean,
it's got to be an AEW original, right?
Yes.
It's got to be the homegrown guys. It can't be Punk losing to someone who's already established. No. I think again, to make stars, you got to have them face stars to get them over as stars.
And I mean, the biggest push he's had so far was that win over Cody, I guess, because then that projected him on when it looked like he wasn't going to win. And I guess Darby, you would say, that was a pretty good win, even though Darby has taken some losses, high-profile matches with the win at the pay-per-view. Yep, here's the next thing, and they can still keep with that stat where he's never been pinned or he's never lost a match on his own, and they can keep that streak running too.
Yeah. We got Lio Rush and Dante Martin defeating The Acclaimed. I like The Acclaimed, man.
Yeah, they are.
Why can't we give them some wins?
Yeah, the problem is the booking here. You got two pretty good teams. The Acclaimed, everyone loves the rap. Everyone loves the intro and all that. But when they're in the ring, they're a good team. But then, Dante and Lio Rush.
He's supposed to be retired, by the way, right?
For now.
No, Leo said he was done, remember?
Well,
he showed up, and then he said he was going to retire, and now here he is doing all the high-risk maneuvers and all that shit.
Coaching and doing good. But, you got fans that love this team, too. So, the booking here, it's impossible to put someone to bed. And, now the Acclaimed is just a bunch of jobbers that come out. We love the entrance, but the rest of it, we know they're going to lose.
Before the match, they had a backstage promo with the Young Bucks and Bobby Fish. All right, on to this second straight week. Leo and Dante in a match. They got some "This is awesome" chants, but the Acclaim, they were awesome in the match as well, I thought. So there you go. They defeated them, and what do we got? We got Team Taz still trying to get Dante Martin, right?
Yeah, because
what does Dante Martin provide for Team Taz?
A baby face.
Okay.
It's just like a heel team. It's like, this kid is not a heel by any stretch of the imagination. Just look at him. The kid's a baby face for sure. There's no way he's got a fucking heel bone in his body, but yet, this issue of trying to get him on Team Taz, I don't understand it.
To end the Dynamite episode, we had a TNT Championship match. The newly acquired Jay Lethal, straight from Ring of Honor, going after the champ, Sammy Guevara. We knew how this match was going to end. Jay Lethal losing. Is this a buck-breaking trend? Is this just the norm when you come to AEW? You gotta, doesn't matter who you are, pal, you gotta, unless you are a very well-known New York person that got over huge and was a main eventer, you're going to lose this first one.
It's like Vince would do, stuff, people would harp on Vince about, we know he's an ex-WCW guy.
Sting.
He's going to lose. Oh. Here it is. Khan's doing the same thing because they always put these newcomers that are coming into a title match right away. And
TNT title match usually.
They're not going to win. So, again, he's got that is the staple. Yeah. What is Lethal's contract? Do we know he's for sure AEW, or was this a one-time deal because of the whole Ring of Honor?
Well, they put out the tweet with the graphics saying that he is all elite, so they only do that for officially signed talent. So Jay Lethal, I'm going to assume, is there. I've not looked at the terms and conditions of his deal, but I'm going to assume that he is there. This was a babyface matchup. It got a split crowd. Tony Nese, he was at ringside again for this match. So I don't know what we're doing with Tony Nese here. I don't know what the plans are with Tony Nese.
This is strange.
Very.
It's just, and Nese isn't one of those big names either, which would draw attention. It's like they're really forcing this, like, there's Tony Nese in the crowd. You wouldn't have known him, though, unless you watched 205 on the fucking internet or wherever you found that. Because, again, this guy was not a huge name. Now, to tie him in with Guevara and Jay Lethal, it was just like he shouldn't even be shown with those two stars in there right now.
Yeah, I thought that they were actually, for the most part, I thought it was a pretty solid Dynamite, and I thought they put the people that needed to be on this show, for the most part, in the right spots, the right places. So I hate to say this, but no disrespect to Guevara and Lethal, but by the time we got to that match for the main event, because of everything that had happened before, I didn't think that this came across as a star-studded main event caliber type match to end your flagship show. I thought it was okay. I thought it was a solid match. You got out of it what you were going to get out of it. Jay Lethal, I've always said, is one of the best workers pound for pound in the ring. They went to a break. They came back from a break. Guevara, he was being tended to by Doc Sampson, which boded well for Lethal's chances of springing the upset and turning heel. But I guess the good news is that this match got a fight forever chant. So we got that out of it. Yeah, Lethal losing first match in AEW. There you go.
I think they should have flipped those segments around. I think the opening segment.
I thought that was going to be your opening match.
Should have been. With the way that these two were going to work.
Or at least have it be after your Danielson Uno match,
I think maybe? Here's the thing. You didn't need Danielson Uno. You didn't need that to be a match. What you could have closed the show out with Danielson and Page just doing that thing. You didn't need Danielson in another match because we've talked about it. You're now starting to make these guys look regular. Danielson and Punk and Cole is in oblivion. He's just, they shit on him right now. These guys don't need matches. Confrontations, yes, and to help set up the next program. So, yeah, they should have flipped main events around or closing segments, because I know they don't like they want to pride themselves in putting on as many matches on, but this show could have warranted, yes, the championship celebration. You could have built it up, showed vignettes of Adam Page throughout his AEW career and what built to this point, and how, since he is the first AEW homegrown, we'll call it that, champ, they could have built it up to that, but it was strange formatting, I guess.
Yeah. AEW Rampage. They had Excalibur, Jericho, Taz, and FTW champion Absolute Ricky Starks on commentary. They kicked the show off with a showdown of Darby Allin versus Billy Gunn. Billy Gunn getting some shine time.
Yes.
This match, they locked up. In this
match,
match,
what's the thing that made us laugh right away as they were coming down with the entrances?
Oh, two of the great, what was this, winning percentages?
Two of the best winning percentages in AEW history.
Oh.
As I said to you, I think Billy Gunn has been in one match, so he's got 1,000% winning percentage. And Darby, well, now we know Darby has taken a handful of losses, so his winning percentage must be at 670. I don't know where the hell they came up with that one, but I think we both said at the same time. Did they really mention that on the broadcast?
Now, we got Billy Gunn. Although it wasn't a shoot, it looked more realistic, being that this match started off with Billy Gunn kicking Darby Allin's ass because he's much bigger and stronger.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, Billy's still jacked up, and he's strong. Now, he ain't going to be able to go 10 minutes with him, but he is... he's a specimen. He's a good-looking guy.
We got this match outside the ring. Gunn headed out there, flung Allin around, and eventually put him back in the ring, and then he locked eyes with Sting. So Gunn remained in control for the most part of the match. We went to a break. We came back, and Gunn still has control of this match. And all of a sudden, we get Allin, who starts to bite some Billy Gunn's flesh. Gunn then falls to the mat. Allin turned his attention over towards Austin and Colton Gunn, who was accompanying their father. And we got a huge coffin drop there off the ring post. We got back in the ring, and Allin fired up 2 more coffin drops to secure the pinfall victory against Billy Gunn. And then after the match, we got the Guns, who rushed down to the ring to beat on Darby, and then Sting headed down to try and break things up. Billy chop blocked Sting. That allowed for the Gun Club to destroy both Allin and Sting, and they laid him lying there as they raised their hands in joy. And is this where we're going now?
I guess it is.
The Gunn family? Who called that play? I'm just curious.
Don't know. It's strange because, you go from MJF, you go to a top program, and now you go to a crew that you haven't really focused on at all, and now that's going to be the next stopgap, I guess, until something else.
I don't know. Yeah. AEW, they're going to be back in Chicago next week for Dynamite, so we got a backstage clip. Tony Schiavone with QT Marshall saying that he wants to be the person to face CM Punk in his hometown next week.
We don't. This match should not last more than 2 minutes then.
We got the Inner Circle reflecting on their big victory at Full Gear against American Top Team. And Scorpio Sky and Ethan Page, they weighed in on it, saying their rivalry is far from over.
Oh, God, I hope it does. Oh, man. Again, one of these things where the Inner Circle, they lose the first match, but now they got to win them all or win the last one whenever they say it's the blowover.
We got a rematch. We got another one of Jade Cargill versus Red Velvet. This is in the TBS tournament. And Cargill, she utilized her strength very early on in the match and hoisted Red Velvet into a choke bomb position. Velvet was able to escape and then ended up being on the receiving end of a brutal fall-away slam, which Cargill then stayed on Velvet for the most part of the match. Eventually, Velvet ate a palm strike once. She dove outside the ring. Cargill then capitalized choke slam on the apron before we got a break. We came back from the break. And both women, they got back into the ring. Cargill, she had Velvet into the corner, Got her in a little foot choke going on there. Finally, fast forward to the very end of this, Cargill, she was able to evade the final slice and turned it into Jaded. So Cargill hooked the final pin in the bout and punched her ticket to the semifinals of the TBS tournament, where she will be awaiting the winner of the Thunder Rosa, Jamie Hayter semifinal.
Yep. I mean, I can't argue with that. Jade should be the one who wins this thing. The way they've shown her and premiered her, and new network, new state.
So you're gonna have two women heels being your champs in the company, or
that's
okay?
Yeah, you may as.
Or would you use Thunder Rosa winning this, and you got Thunder Rosa and you got Britt, and those are your okay.
I think the way you've built Jade up, you've got to start doing something with her. You just can't have her flounder anymore.
Still undefeated, right?
She's a star. She's undefeated. Okay. Just keep her going.
We got a vignette of Thunder Rosa, who said she is going to conquer Jamie Hayter on Wednesday on Dynamite. Tony Khan made it official that for the Thanksgiving Dynamite, you are going to be getting CM Punk versus QT Marshall.
And the crowd went mild.
Yeah.
At least it's Punk in Chicago. I mean, that's the thing. Like I said, it shouldn't go more than 2 minutes. Yeah. The entrance should be longer than the match.
We got a little package, once again, commemorating Heyman Adam Page. And we then get an announcement that for AEW Dynamite on Wednesday in Chicago, you're going to get Bryan Danielson going toe-to-toe with Boom Boom Colt Cabana.
Well, I guess. I mean, that'll get a good reaction from the indie crowd, so we'll see what happens in the match. But again, Colt Cabana hasn't been relevant in like 8 years.
Then we got confirmation that on next Friday's AEW Rampage, you're going to get a match of Eddie Kingston back in action against Danny Garcia.
Yep, they built that up from this past Dynamite where they had a little interaction, a little talk, so I guess we'll see that.
Yeah, they made the announcement of Winter is Coming in Garland, Texas for December 15th. Then we got our main event of Adam Cole and Bobby Fish versus Jurassic Express, Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus. Cole and Jungle Boy, they kicked things off. Strong lockup, and this match went back and forth. We'll fast forward to the ending because I'm so done with this. We got Cole, who headed for the Panama Sunrise. Jungle Boy ducked under, and Cole slammed right into Luchasaurus, and then the dinosaur slammed Cole out of his way, and then immediately we had Jungle Boy heading for a cover. Fish ran in to break it up, but then Fish tagged himself in, applied a dragon screw, looking to limit the mobility of Jungle Boy. Didn't work. Jungle Boy was able to charge up enough strength for a belly-to-belly suplex straight towards the corner. At that point, we have the Young Bucks heading down the ramp, and they walk right up to Luchasaurus, and then we get the Bucks who are looking to interfere, but then Christian Cage comes out of the bag with a chair, chases them and Cole off. Fish is left stranded in the ring with Jungle Boy, and Jungle Boy was able to lock in his submission move, and Fish tried to escape, got close, and then Jungle Boy was able to pull him back in the middle of the ring and lock it back on, and Fish had no choice but to tap. And there you go. Jurassic Express gaining the victory in the main event of AEW Rampage. There you go.
Yep. Bobby Fish is a jobber.
He's the fall guy of this clique.
He has not had one win in AEW since he's been there.
Nor will he be getting any wins.
No, he won't. Not with all this going on. And again,
he might defeat Marco Stunt. That might be his only victory if this is where we're going. If he's going to be a part of the Super Clique, and they're going to be feuding with Jurassic Express for a while, then maybe that is his victory, is Marco Stunt.
Yeah, we're done with that. So hopefully it wraps up soon.
All right. For episode 28, thank you so much for listening, Slade.
PJ.
Wrapping this thing up, be sure to like and subscribe wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts and follow us on social media. We promise we will follow back at Bush League MS Pod. We'll catch you next week, episode 29.